In 2025, people are getting laid off or quitting their jobs more than ever. And if you're worried about job security, the best thing you can do for yourself is to start a business that actually works. For me, that was selling on Amazon. I turned it into a real full-time income within the first month. So in this video, I'm going to show you why Amazon FBA is one of the best businesses you can start before something like that happens, and how you can start it up the right way. No matter what way you decide to sell, you're going to need an Amazon seller account. So you're just going to come over to sell.amazon.com, or you could go to sellercentral.amazon.com, and you're going to sign up for an account. There's two ways that you can open your account, either by individual account or a professional account. There is a big difference in pricing here, but when you consider how many units you're going to do in a month, if you do over 40 units in a month, you're going to be paying more if you choose the individual plan here. If you do the professional plan, you'll only pay $40 a month, no matter if you sell 400 units, 1,000 units, or 10 units, you still pay $40 a month. So my recommendation would definitely be to go for the professional plan. But when it comes down to what way do you want to sell, because you may be familiar with online arbitrage like what I do, or wholesale, private label, retail arbitrage. Online arbitrage is definitely the easiest way to sell for newer people. It takes a lot less time than, say, retail arbitrage, where you have to go and drive around to different stores and scan products all by hand and hope that something is good in that store. Then there may be limited stock of what's good. You may only have one item that you're able to buy in one unit. Whereas if you're looking online arbitrage products, then you could buy as many as that store has in stock across many different stores, because they'll ship to you from different locations, or they may have a warehouse that they do all that stuff out of. When it comes to wholesale, you're going to have to call distributors, call brands. It's going to take a lot more time up front to secure good brands and good distributors to then run their products, see if they're good. You may sign up for a distributor or a wholesaler that has no products that are profitable, because their pricing is different than other distributors that carry that same brand, and so on. And like I said, you're going to have to make a ton of phone calls, get rejected a lot because you're new. It's going to be a harder route to take, and something that I've even tried before, and it just didn't seem as promising as online arbitrage like I do. When it comes to private label, that is going to take a lot of money up front, and also a lot of time, because you're going to have to make samples of your product. You're going to have to test it, see if it's good quality. If it's not good quality, then you might have to start all over and find another person or company to make your product, and you're going to invest thousands of dollars into something before you even know if there's demand for it. You might buy your product in 1,000 units, 500 units, list it on Amazon after then creating the Amazon product page, running ads, all that stuff. If it doesn't sell, you're out of luck. Like, you wasted all of that money on investing in that product, and turns out it doesn't sell. It's something that you would want to do way later down the line, because it can create a lot of return for you. But when you're just getting your feet on the ground and running with this business, you want to definitely try out online arbitrage first. So after you have your Amazon Seller Central account set up, you're going to want to create an LLC so you can get access to business credit cards. Because for what I do and what I recommend to everybody that I work with, you don't want to ever put your own personal money into this business. You want to use other people's money. And my recommendations for business credit cards to use are going to be these three from American Express. The Plum card is different, because these two blue ones, they have 0% interest for the first year. So you can open these cards and keep a running balance, just meet a minimum payment every month, and not pay any interest on it. So that's why I always recommend these two as the first cards that you get to anybody that I talk to. There is also a different strategy on how to really maximize the use of these that I have a video for, that will show up in the top right hand corner right here as a little banner, and it will also be linked at the end of this video in the outro. The Plum card is different because there is interest There is also an annual fee, unlike these two. But the good thing about this card is, if you know anything about credit cards, you know that you usually have around 30 days to pay off your balance after your statement closes. This card gives you an extra 30 days. And the only caveat with that is you don't get any rewards unless you pay within $10 of, or within 10 days, of your statement closing. So, or your payment date. So if you pay it within 40 days, then you get rewards. If you take the full 60 days, you get nothing for using this card, which is why maybe some people don't use it as much, but it is easy way to get access to a good amount of money and extend your payment dates as well. You could open all three of these. It's completely up to you. I have more than 3 business cards that I cycle through on a yearly basis, so it's not a bad idea to open up a lot of them. Also, these ones don't run your personal credit. They don't leave a mark on your personal credit as an inquiry, so that is a plus for this. You can apply for this and get denied, and it has no effect on you personally. The other ones are going to be through Chase. Chase Inc. Business Cash and the Business Unlimited. $0 annual fees and 0% interest for the first 12 months. So you have a lot of options here to work with, to not have to front your own money, be limited because maybe you only have a couple $1,000s to invest into the business. You're going to use all that, have to wait for it to come back through Amazon and then reinvest it. Whereas if you open some business credit cards, you have that right away and you don't have to wait for that cycle to complete through Amazon. So once we have all of that stuff set up and you're ready to go, we're going to need to be able to find products. You can have all this stuff, but if you don't know first what a good product looks like and then also how to find the product, then you don't really have anything there. So for what a good product looks like, this is going to be a random hoodie that I came across in a different video. This is what you pretty much want to see on a Keepa chart. And if you're not familiar with Keepa, just go to keepa.com. It's $20 a month. This is going to be how we analyze product history and see and validate that it is a good product. So you can see here that there's all of these different filters that we can click on and off. You will want to keep on what I have on and turn off the rest. If you have a middle chart in here when you first sign up, you just click on this sub ranks button. It will take that box away because we don't need that. It's just a more detailed version of this green line right in here. So the green line is sales rank, which also shows up right here inside of Seller Amp, which is what we're going to use to calculate our profit numbers and just kind of make sure that it is a good purchase to make. This software also $20 a month. You will need both Chrome extensions installed for them to show up here after you sign up for the accounts. But getting back to what this is supposed to look like, you want to see movement inside of this bottom chart. This is the offer count, which shows how many other sellers are on the listing. If you saw a flat line all the way across, no movement or barely any movement, like something like this, for example, not a good fast selling product. But when you see more movement in here over amount of time, like this, for example, going from 17 down to 12, you're going to be able to validate that people are selling out of this product. And then when it comes back and it starts to sell out again, people are replenishing this product, people are selling out. That's a very good sign that there is volume going through that product. And that correlates most of the time to this green line right here, the sales rank, which is the rank of this item inside of the entire category along with all of the other products. So this is a 21,788 sales rank, which means that is the rank out of millions of products in this category. That is how popular this product is. So the lower the number, the more popular, then you can translate that into faster selling item. You want to stay away from products that are usually over 150,000 sales rank. For when you're starting out, you could even go lower to 125 as your max. For me right now, I like to stick at 100,000 even max because I want faster selling products with more volume going through them, but you'll tweak that as you go through everything. The other part of this chart is going to be this pink line that we can see as I move across this. It does change. That is the buy box price. So this price in here, the $31.99, the one person that shows up in this box is what this pink line is attributed to. And it does change. As you can see, the names inside of that little pop-up, it does change because that rotates. But we want to see consistency in here. And this, it has gone down a little bit over 3 months, but it has flattened out and stayed pretty consistent. So we can assume that we would be able to stay at this price. It has even peaked up a little bit here. It did drop down as some people came in, but it flattened out. And that's kind of what we want to see, is consistency in here. If it's going up and down, up and down, up and down, a little bit more volatile, you want to make sure that you're okay at the lower prices too. The orange box that's showing up is everybody else's price except the buy box price. And you want to see those correlate with the pink line most of the time. If the orange triangles are higher, that's usually okay. If they're lower, you may want to do some additional research and analysis of the product. But overall, this is a pretty decent product. And we can see here that we've got our pricing in here, the sale price here, cost price here. And that cost price came from going to Gap.com right here, finding this product, well, found it through Google, but it's on Gap.com for $24.99. And the way that we get to that price that we have here in the $15.99 is by taking this $24.99 here, throwing it into this box, and that is negative, and it's a lot higher than what we had. Gap has a coupon code at the bottom of their site, like most sites that we buy from in online arbitrage selling, where it's 20% off if you sign up for emails or texts. So we can assume here that we've got 20% off, so we'll do 80% of $24.99, still pretty low. And the other part of this is going to be that we come over to this website called Cardbear. And when we come over here, we can search our website. We can see that there's 3 different options. For sites that have multiple options, you'll want to Google things, because if for whatever reason these two numbers were flipped and it said Gap at 13.5 and Gap Kids at 19%, some sites will let you cross over gift cards. So you might be able to use a Gap Kids card on Gap.com. It really, like a good example is Nordstrom and Nordstrom Rack. You can swap those gift cards. So if Nordstrom had a higher percentage and you're buying off of Nordstrom Rack, then you can use that gift card on that website. But we can see here that we've got 19% here on gift cards. So we'll buy a $100 gift card for $80 essentially. And all of these sites are legit. You don't have to worry about getting scammed or anything. I've bought from every single one of these websites. They do show up different for different stores, but they're all valid. And if you have any issues with the gift cards, you will either get a replacement or a refund. The only thing is you can't buy the gift cards and then say, I don't need them anymore, I'm not going to make this purchase, refund me my money. They won't do that. So definitely make sure that you're going to buy these gift cards right before you place the order. Don't buy them in advance if you don't need them. Don't buy it for something that you're unsure of. Only buy it when you're about to place the order, because most of these sites will send you the gift cards within 1 to 2 minutes, maybe 5 to 10 minutes of you purchasing them. So we have that $19.99, and we'll just do another 80% here, 20% off for easy numbers, and we get the $15.99 here. So we've got 28.5% ROI, $4.50 profit at this price. That is a good product. For me, I like to stick over 25% ROI. You may want to bump it to 30. You may want to somewhere in the middle, but 25 to 30% is a very good rule to have, or range to have. And profit, anything for me over $4, I'm good with that. I don't like to go lower, because then when price drops a little bit or potentially drops a little bit, you may eat up your margin pretty quickly. But now that we know what a good product looks like, how to read all of this, then we're going to want to see, how do we find products? Because I didn't show you how to find this product, just found it for the example. So when you scroll down in SellerAmp, you're going to see a list of offers here, where we can see all of these different stores that have this product and their pricing and their stock count. So you can gauge competition and see, okay, these guys only have 31, 99, and 32. Maybe I could get somewhere up in this 33. And we can do that by validating this and seeing 33.99 here. And the other thing with this is going to be there's two ways to sell on Amazon. And we can see that I just clicked on this button here. It's because it was set to merchant fulfilled here. So you can either send products into the warehouses or you can sell them yourself, package them all, ship them all individually by yourself. And you'll get different pricing for that depending on what your merchant fulfilled shipping cost is going to be, because you're going to pay that on your own. When you do Amazon, there's no box for that because they already build that into the fees there. And we can see that this 31% here at $33.99 then turns into $12 profit because there's no shipping cost. If you have a $5 shipping cost, you'll make more. If you have a $6 shipping cost, you'll still make more than sending it into the warehouses, but you have a lot more work to do rather than just boxing them all up, shipping them all in, and letting Amazon take care of that. So it is a trade-off that you're going to want to consider depending on what you want to prioritize. But getting back to these storefronts, if I was to click and open these up and open them in a new tab, we're going to see this here, which is a seller ant page that shows the seller and their rating, their ASIN count, all the brands that they've got, all of the categories that they sell in. If we clicked on one of these, we would be able to filter out the products just for those brands or by category. And what you're going to see in here is a long list of products like this laid out for you. You can click on load more and see all of them. But what you want to really pay attention to here when you're looking through this is going to be the BSR, the competition if you care about competition, and then the estimated sales potentially. But it usually coincides pretty good with this BSR right here. So you'll have your criteria of under 150,000 BSR, for example. Maybe you want to limit it to maybe 25 to 30 sellers or 40 to 50, depending on what risk tolerance you want to take, because you'll see listings that have 100 sellers that are very consistent, and you might see listings that have 2 sellers that are very much fluctuation between the pricing. So you'll just want to kind of figure that stuff out as you go on. But what we're doing here is when something meets our criteria, so 52K is inside of 150, and competition, only 11 offers, we're going to open up this Amazon page here by clicking on that button. You can also get straight to the Google search for it right here because that's how we're going to find it. We're going to scroll down, check out the pricing and the Keep a chart, which was a little bit unstable here, but it was mainly attributed to all of these sellers coming in and dipping down the price, and it did restabilize out here. So it did return to normal. That's not a huge red flag. If it didn't return back to normal, then I wouldn't want to approach this product at all. If it looked like this, not a really good sign here. But since it came back up to that 22, 23 range, decent product that's worth looking into because of also all of these sellers selling out and coming back in here. So we need a max price of $9.53 for this 22.20 or 22.52 here. And we can see that that's actually the lowest price, but it's not the buy box. So we can shoot up for this 23.70, 24 range here. And we'll see that we need 10.51. So when we come over to Google, we're going to see that we've got the product right here. And these are actually the same product, but different sizes. So we will pull this up. We'll see that it is $12.99, and they do actually have this button right here, so you'll get an additional coupon with it. This is always worth doing. And so we've got 15% off if we throw in our email here. So I'm going to count that 15%. We've got $12.99 as our price times 85% for that 15% off. We're already above our ROI, but our profit is a little bit low for my standards, so that's why it's red. And then when we come over to here and we do Nautica, we can see that we've got 20% off on this site, which this website is going to have you go through another one. It doesn't always mean that it's there. So check the in-stock availability, but for this example, we'll just do 16% since those two are not going to send you to other sites. They're just going to have them straight up right inside of their own. So we'll do another 16% here. So we'll do 84% of 1104, and we've got a 56% ROI, $5 profit at that other price that we put in here. So we can check the low one here and see what it would be. We're still at 45%, 46% almost, and $4 profit at the lowest price here. But we can safely assume that we could get up to that 24, and we can validate that by going into the data tab on Keepa, going to buy box statistics, and seeing either by percentage one, how often it is, which this is a little high because within the last 30 days, it was in that dip there. So what I do in those kind of situations is click on this last one and see what was the most recent prices and how long ago. So within the last 3 days, it's been 30%-ish because this is less than one. And it's been at that 23.68 right here. So we could safely assume that we are going to get up to that price. And there's even another 24 here 4 days ago. So that is exactly how you're going to find the products. That's how you should read the Keepa charts and all of the basics that you really need to know when trying to start your Amazon business. If you guys have any questions about anything I went over in this video, or there's any other topics that you want to see me make videos on, leave a comment down below. There's also a link in the description for anybody who wants my help either starting or growing their Amazon business. As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.